What's up guys, Zachary Strife here with Zach's Tech, and I heard you're trying to build a new computer. So we're going to go through the build checklist and do a test build right here, right now, so I can give you an idea of what to look for and what you need to know to get your first computer built, if this is your first one. If it's your second one, third one, fourth one, I don't care. This list will still help you. So let's get right to it. I'm going to be using a website called PC Part Picker to show you guys how it works and how easy it is to use. But first we need to go through the 8 required things that you need for a computer to function properly. First one, you need a CPU, or a central processing unit. This is the heart of your computer. It does literally everything, all the calculations, everything that your computer needs to do to function and run. This is very important. At this point, I would probably recommend an i5 from Intel or greater, or like a Ryzen 1400X-ish. But I don't have enough knowledge on Ryzen right now to give you a build for that, so I'm going to work on the Intel build today. Next thing you need is a motherboard. It's what you use to communicate between all of the different hardware. So like the memory and all that stuff communicates through the board to the CPU, so the CPU knows where to send this to that, and this to this, and that and this, and hey, I have a video game on my screen. How'd that happen? Anyway, next thing we need is memory. At this point, 8 gigabytes of RAM is still okay, but I think we're moving to a point where 16 is becoming more of the recommended. So in this test build, we're just going to go ahead and go for 16. But yeah, the memory allows things to go into floating memory, so it can be accessed very quickly, or random access memory, RAM. Very, very cool stuff. I love how computers work. The next thing we need is storage. In this build, I'm just going to be throwing on a 1 terabyte Western Digital drive, easy peasy. If you want to get fancy, you can get a solid state drive. If you do get a solid state drive, I actually recommend a 500 gig or more at this point, because the price of them has been falling quite dramatically. The next thing we need is a video card. Unfortunately, this build might be a little wonky because of the mining craze right now for Ethereum and Bitcoins and all that stuff. So the pricing for the video cards is going to be a little off. So don't take this build with like total truth here, because these prices may fluctuate very rapidly. Thing after we need the video card is a case to put all the junk in. I'm going to be doing just a simple case, you know, something that I trust and I actually have used a few times now. We'll get through that through the build. We need it to power all that, so we need a power supply. It's going to be a pretty simple build, so I'm going to do like, you know, 500 watt, something that's not overkill. Maybe 600 watt, depending on the pricing. And lastly, we need an operating system for your computer, because it needs to know how to communicate to you and how to show you things and how to do the stuff. Going to my favorite website, PC Part Picker. The thing I like about this website is when you're putting stuff together, it tells you if there's incompatibility. Now, it is not 100% accurate. I'll tell you that right now. But it is pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and start a system build. And I've already predetermined that we're going to do an i5. So we're going to go choose a CPU. And we're going to look for an i5. The hottest on the market right now is a 7600K. I like to get the K SKU because you can overclock it. But you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Some people are not comfortable overclocking. There is actually a difference between the 7600 and the 7600K. I believe the 7600K is clocked higher. So here's the 7600, 3.5 base, 4.1 turbo. 7600K, 3.8 base, 4.2 turbo. So yeah, the K SKU will still run faster than the normal. So it determines whether or not you think it's worth the extra 20 bucks, if it's even 20 bucks. Yeah, I would just get the K SKU even if you're not overclocking, just to get the additional benefit. So we're gonna go ahead and add the 7600K. See, like right there. I love this. Compatibility check. I love it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and choose a... Oh, actually, we need to double check real quick. Make sure this 7600K comes with a cooler. Include CPU cooler? No. All right, so that should have been something on my checklist. It really depends on the CPU you're buying. Some of them do come with a cooler. Please make sure that you check that before we continue. Since we need a CPU cooler, I'm gonna go to my trusty old friend, the Hyper 212 Evo. This thing is just the best of the best. I mean, it fits anything. The only thing it doesn't fit is AM4. I think you need to send in for a bracket. It does show that it's there though, surprisingly. So you can use this on Ryzen, but you may need to request the bracket. So anyway, we're gonna get the Hyper 212 Evo, add that. Motherboard. All right, so this is all personal choice for me. You do not need to follow me at all, but my heart brand right now, the one that I love, is Asus. So I usually get like a Z270, Z270A, something like that. So let's get Z270. And let's see. The Prime, probably be a good choice. Can I... Asus, there we go. That's what I was looking for. So yeah, it looks like the Prime Z270A is what we're looking for. It's about 160 bucks. Usually there is a P model, which is a little cheaper. Yeah, here it is. I just sorted by price to find that real quickly. The P model usually has a little less capability than the A model. So I usually just opt for the A model, but that's your choice. If we're just doing a quick build, I will throw in the A. Let's just do this one. All right, so memory, 16 gigs of memory. What? Okay, so a couple things you need to look out for when you're doing this is we need to see what this motherboard is capable of. So it says memory type up to 3866, okay, of DDR4. So the board is capable of handling overclocked memory. This is why I like the A series. I think the P series doesn't go nearly as high. So anyway, we know that it's 3866. So now we can go down here. We want 2 8 gig sticks because reasons. Then I just usually just buy the cheapest stuff I can find with the highest megahertz. So let's see. I usually try to shoot for about 3000, 3200. It's usually about the sweet spot. And also RAM prices are kind of up and down right now too, so these might actually be changing on you. I've always bought G.Skill. They're generally good timings, generally good speeds, and a really good price. So I'm gonna look for the G.Skill 3000. Let's go ahead and sort this by G.Skill. And again, this is personal preference. You don't have to buy the same stuff I'm getting. This is all just what I prefer. Here we go. G.Skill Ripjaw V series at 3000 for 125 bucks. So let's see if we can beat that. If we can get a 3200 kit for 125. No, they jump up about $20 once you get to 3200. So you can determine how much you want to spend. Usually I stick around to 3000. All right, storage. Like I said, we're just gonna add the Western Digital 1 terabyte Western Digital WD10 Easy EX. It's like the cheapest 1 terabyte solid, best freaking hard drive money can buy. That's just the easy go-to drive right now. It's fast. It holds a terabyte of storage, and it's just, I can't complain about it. I have one in this computer, I have one in that computer, I have one in that computer. They're just reliable, and I love it. All right, video card. Okay, so I'm gonna be building towards like a high mid-range. So I'm gonna be looking for a 1060. The thing about the 1060 right now is Ethereum mining exploded, and the prices of all these video cards went up. But I would recommend for mid-high end for gaming, the 1066 gig. The 1063 gig is kind of too limiting with the 3 gigs of RAM. I've already seen with a couple of my friends that the 3 gig is limiting, so we need to get the 6 gig. All right, so 6 gig at 2. The Zotac is 260. That's the mini too, so that's gonna fit in a lot of stuff. The only problem is maybe potentially heating, so you might want to look at reviews, but the reviews are actually looking pretty good. So we'll just go ahead and add the Zotac mini. All right, so for me on the case, I know this case is extremely reliable. It fits a lot of hardware, and that is the half 912. And it's 60 bucks. It's actually a really nice case. It holds a lot of stuff. I mean, if you're gonna do liquid cooling, maybe not the best choice, but for just an air-cooled system, it's more than enough. So we're gonna go ahead and add the half 912. Blech, if I could type. Wow. There we go. Got it. All right, power supply. Recently, I've been loving the EVGA power supplies, so we're gonna just immediately choose the EVGA. Again, this is my preferred brand. You don't have to choose these, but generally the warranties on EVGA are just rock solid. Anytime I've ever had a problem with EVGA, they've been right there, instantly helping me out. You know, they're just top-notch company. Now, I would not cheap out on this. If you can get a 600 watt for 50 bucks, wow, that's actually better than I thought. I would definitely be doing that. So we'll go for the semi-modular 600 watt for $42. And the reason I like semi-modular is because, I mean, it's not 100% modular, but the part that's not is the 24 pin for your motherboard, which you need anyway. That does not have a lot of power output. But for a small build, it's not a huge deal. You just gotta make sure when you're looking at stuff, make sure you can power everything. Since we're only doing like 1 drive and 1 video card, we're fine. If we're gonna be adding a lot more stuff, then we got a problem, and it's not gonna be enough. But actually, is that gonna power? Does that have an 8-pin for the board? That real quick. That looks like an 8-pin right there. This might be okay. So this is just some of the stuff you have to look at. Let's go back to the build, because there's an 8-pin up here that I'm worried about. Just things you gotta keep an eye out. Let's not get that power supply specifically. Let's get a different one, just to make sure I have the proper plugs. So let's look at a 650. It's gonna be a little more expensive. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. That one has the one that specifically says CPU. Okay. You when you're buying a computer, you definitely need to make sure you're looking at stuff like this. You need an 8-pin for the CPU motherboard. So this is a more reasonable power supply. I'm not sure what the other one was. That was something I haven't seen before. It was like very limited on. Was it this one? Yes. Okay. So the 650 semi-modular for 65 bucks. That's what I'm looking for. All right. And operating system, I think, is the last one. Yes. Windows 10 Home. Boom. So that's it. That's what we got for a computer build. This is going to be a very, like, mid-high. You could probably set Ultra on 1080p. Easy peasy. And you've got a complete system here. The only thing you need is a monitor, which I don't put in the system builds because that's to your discretion if you want to use a TV or a monitor, or if you want to use some Stone Age thing. But that's about it, guys. That's what you need to build a computer. If you guys like what you saw, hit that like button. And if you want to consider helping me out, there will be a Patreon link below. All of it goes to helping me, you know, feed my family, pay my bills, and continue the YouTube channel and the Twitch channels. So if you guys liked it, like it, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you next time.